Now that I've scrolled down to the next kit after IG-90, welcome back to another Galaxy of Heroes video. We're gonna be talking about Inquisitor Barriss. So her kit is honestly pretty gnarly. She gets Siphon for one thing and Purge. Tying those two together will make her a pretty interesting Inquisitor, honestly. And then apparently for 5v5 Grand Arena, they're CG is envisioning second sister, ninth sister, eighth brother, and fifth brother going to Barriss. Now, the slight problem with that thought process will be we will only have third, grand, seventh for her own. Merrick could go to the Inquisitors as well, but the thing is like they're taking away fifth and eighth brother away from they're taking away fifth and eighth brother away from Reva, so they're gonna have to probably introduce more Inquisitors to make another full Inquisitor team. But in 3v3 Grand Arena, ninth and second sister will be the team for Barriss, and it'll become very obvious as we get through the kit. On her marquee is not going to be until January 13th of next year. So anyways, her basic is Enfeebling Strike. You're dealing special damage to the target enemy and inflicting them with a stack of Purge, max 6 until the end of the encounter. Unaligned force user allies recover 5% health protection. She also gains 5 Siphon, which cannot be dispelled until the end of the encounter. So her kit is revolving around a lot of things, assisting and getting Siphon. And the Siphon is going to be buffing a lot of... It's going to become very important as to why she's getting Siphon very quickly. Also, health and protection recovery is going to be amazing. You're going to basically want to have her modded like OG Barriss because, yeah, she's going to have a lot of max health stuff coming. Now, her Force Corruptor is her first special with a 3-turn cooldown. You're dispelling all buffs and dealing special damage to all enemies. It's an AoE. You inflict buff enemy for 2 turns on the target enemy and you siphon critical damage from them. If the target enemy has 6 stacks of Purge, your buff immunity cannot be resisted. And you lower the cooldown of Flicker of the Light by 1, which is her second special ability with a Zeta on it. Obviously, special Siphon critical damage. You gain a percentage of the critical damage equal to this unit's Siphon until the end of the encounter, and the target loses that much critical damage. Stacking excludes raid bosses and Galactic Legends. So that's all the Siphon critical damage is. But this also will come into an effect pretty quickly as to why this is happening. Flicker of the Light has a 4-turn cooldown and a Zeta. You're dispelling all debuffs on unaligned force user allies, and then they have their current health percentages equalized. All unaligned force user allies recover 10% health protection. You recover an additional 5% health and protection for each stack of Purge that has been consumed by Inquisitorious allies or resisted by enemies in battles, max at 60%. So the more Purge you're consuming, the more Purge that's being resisted. That's just more health and protection recovery for your team. Now, Inquisitor Barriss will grant 20% of critical damage stacking to the allied Inquisitorious attackers until the end of the battle. More damage to second sister, basically. More damage to... Is it fifth brother? No, fifth brother. No, it'd be eighth brother. It'd be the attacker. So, if we're thinking about in terms of the Inquisitorious team that they're talking about for Barriss, it'd be second sister, eighth brother would be getting the buffs for the attack, and then fifth brother and ninth sister would not. But yeah, that's where we're going with the whole Siphon critical damage. And look at this, they actually put the leadership ability before the unique. Wicked, huh? Now, this is why I said you might want to put max. You might want to mod Barriss, Inquisitor Barriss like you do Barriss Offie, because Inquisitorious allies gain 20% max health at the start of each of their turns. Well, not at the start. Okay, let's run that back, buddy. Okay, Inquisitorious allies gain 20% max health, and at the start of each of the turns, they recover 8% health based on Inquisitorious Barriss' max health. That's where I was trying to get at before I started fumbling my words and making it seem like it was completely more busted than it actually is. That's why you want to have Barriss with a lot of health. Whenever an enemy gains a stack of Purge, Inquisitorious allies gain 3 stacks of heal over time for 2 turns. Whenever Purge is resisted by an enemy or dispelled on them, Inquisitorious allies gain 10% off in stacking for a turn. Now, while in 3v3 Grand Arena, this is also a Ami ability, I guess, because they forgot to actually add that to the freaking top of this, but whatever. And if Grand Inquisitor is not an ally, Inquisitorious allies gain 30% critical chance and 50% critical damage. Whenever an Inquisitor's ally critically hits an enemy, That enemy gains a stack of Purge, which cannot be resisted until the end of the encounter. Allied second sister is immune to daze and stun, and whenever Barriss uses an ability, second sister will assist. This assist will be a critical hit if able, because like they said at the beginning of this little blurb for Barriss, you're going to want ninth sister and second sister with Barriss off in 3v3 Grand Arena. At the start of each of Barriss' turns, you reduce the cooldown of second sister's abilities by 1, which is going to be pretty annoying because Can't Run Forever has a 5-turn cooldown. Shall I End This has a 3-turn cooldown, so yeah. Yeah. Lots of stun potential there. For Can't Run Forever. Lots of special damage to be possibly done. You know. Yeah. Now, her unique one is Reflective Memory. Reflective Mercy. Where did I get Memory and Mercy mixed up from? Allies and enemies cannot be revived. Whenever an Inquisitor's ally is critically hit, they recover 10% health and protection, and then that enemy gains a stack of Purge. Whenever Ninth Sister is taunting, Second Sister and Barriss have 200% defense and tenacity, and then Barriss is immune to daze and stun, which is going to be pretty annoying. Whenever an enemy has any buffs, number of buffs dispelled, Barriss will gain 10% TM. So, yeah, that's going to be annoying as all be, having to somehow grind through 200% defense tenacity on Second Sister and Barriss if you have Ninth Sister taunting. Now, if she's, like, you know, buff immune, that's not really going to be a problem. But also, having Barriss being immune to daze and stun is going to be kind of annoying to begin with. Her second unique is Patience, which is, I think, the same for all Inquisitors. You know, if there are 3 minimum... If all allies minimum 3 are Inquisitors, they gain... she will gain 20% max health, protection, and potency. Whenever an ally is critically hit by an enemy, this character has 20% chance to gain 100% TM. Whenever an Inquisitor's ally damages an enemy with Purge, this character will assist. Oh, well, that's a built-in assist. Wait, do all of them have that? No. Oh, wait. I forgot Patience is different for every other different. Okay. So hers is unique. Whenever... See, this is where the whole constant spamming of the siphon stacking and max health and protection, not even max health protection, just protection and health recovery is going to be annoying. Because she'll be assisting, whenever Purge is consumed or dispelled, this character will gain 3% TM. So, I know I saw on Reddit that some people were like, oh, Barriss is there, but like actually reading into her kit, she has a good little variety of like just potential, especially in 3v3, because you're not really running Ninth Sister with Reva unless you have the Ninth Sister Datacron whenever that Datacron rolls around, obviously. If it will roll around by the time Barriss becomes available to play with and at the end of the era, who knows? But you know, I like the kit. It's kind of simple. It's not really simple, but it's simplistic for Barriss, honestly. And you know, Inquisitor Barriss was something I was kind of like waiting for to get released whenever she was in the Tales of the Jedi, or was it Tales of the Empire miniseries? Which one was it? I don't remember which one it was, but she was in one of those, and that's why. Tales of the Empire series, okay. That's which one it was. But anyways, now we'll move on to Darth Vader Duel's End. You'll be rounding out the era of Anniversary, because, you know, he'll be at the very end of it. He'll be available January 27th. So not for a while from whenever this video goes up, but he is a dark side Sith attacker. Imperial, duh. His kit is based off of what we saw in the Obi-Wan show, the one that a lot of people... I thought it was okay. It could have been better. A lot of people didn't like it, but that's okay. Everyone is, you know, entitled to their own opinion. They're saying their vision for the squad is, in 5v5 at least, Emperor Palpatine, Mara Jade, Grand Moff Tarkin, and the Royal Guard. Tarkin maybe not so much, because Tarkin can still do things with the clones in 5v5 if you're not running them with Lord Vader. If you're not, you're kind of insane. But a lot of people also said you could run Thrawn in place of Grand Moff Tarkin, because there's a fracture in his kit, and his fracture is kind of busted. His basic ability is, then you will die. Dealing physical damage to the target enemy, and during Darth Vader's turn, ability block them and inflict evasion after 2 turns. Now, if the target enemy is dazed, shocked, or stunned, reduce Vader's cooldowns by 1, and he gains 100% offense for a turn. Now, they also had to say, anytime Vader... Oh yeah, right here, FAQ. I see the name Vader used above and in the kit. This is referred to the original Vader Darth Vader unit? No. Any references to Vader in this kit is just for Darth Vader duels in, which has to be kind of specified there. Your weakness still remains, has a 3-turn cooldown in his first special. Deal physical damage to the target enemy twice, and you call the strongest other attacker ally to assist if the target enemy's Galactic Republic, Inquisitor, or Jedi. Vader will also assist. This ability will also critically hit if possible. So, let's see. So the FAQ bit actually kind of elaborates a lot more on why he will also assist. So can Vader assist himself twice? The answer is no. The ability calls the strongest other attacker to assist. Vader will only assist once, and only if the enemy is Galactic Republic, Inquisitor, or Jedi. So it's going to be calling... Is Mara an attacker? Am I losing it? Is Mara Jade an attacker? Hold on. Let's look at this. Mara. Oh, Mara Jade. Yes, you are an attacker. So Mara is going to be called to assist. And then... So Mara will be called, then Vader will be called, and that's it. So... And also, you're not going to be inflicting ability block or evasion down. But you will be reducing his cooldowns and granting 100% offense for a turn if the enemy is dazed, shocked, or stunned. So, now, for his second special, you will always lose as a 6-turn cooldown with the Zeta and Ami. You're dispelling all buffs on all enemies and deal physical damage to them, dealing 50% more damage for each debuffed enemy. If the enemy is shocked or stunned, they take another instance of damage. And then you're inflicting speed down on all enemies for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled, evaded, or prevented. And you lose 100% accuracy for a turn, which cannot be evaded. Enemies are inflicted with buff me for your turn. This ability cannot be resisted. Now in Grand Arena, if Palpatine is in the allied leader spot, you fracture the target enemy and another enemy until the start of Vader's next turn, or until Vader is defeated, which cannot be copied, dispelled, or evaded. And Vader cannot gain bonus turn meter this turn. So like the Ami kind of seems like a double-edged sword, because like you throw double fracture out, right? But then Vader can't gain bonus CM, which is really the biggest deal. But like, because if I remember correctly, Palpatine's leadership has something about TM gain. Where are you? There we go. Okay, let's see. Leadership. They have whenever an ally Imperial ally inflicts a debuff, they gain 20% TM. Whenever a Sith ally gains... Okay, so it's just health recovery for Sith allies, but, you know. And whenever a debuff expires, Empire and Sith allies gain 5% TM. So Vader won't be gaining any of that bonus turn meter whenever buffs are inflicted or expire. So it's kind of like, okay, whack, but makes sense. But being able to do a double fracture on the target enemy and then the random enemy is just wicked work. It's wicked. And then, like, that's why people said Thrawn would be a good choice for this team, because then you could have 2 people fractured and throw another fracture out from Thrawn onto someone. You have over half the enemy team fractured and unable to do anything. He has 2 uniques, no leadership obviously, but his uniques are very long-winded, because of course they are, because this Darth Vader is very good. So I Am What Remains has an Ami on it. At the start of battle, he loses 51% of his health and inflicted with burning until the end of battle, which cannot be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Vader cannot be defeated by this burning, and is immune to other burning effects, and takes reduced damage from percent health effects. So even if you modded him, I mean, probably modding him for extra health wouldn't be a bad thing per se, but like, we won't be able to mod him anyways till he becomes legacy, quote unquote. So at the start of battle, if there are no GLs, whenever Vader takes burning damage, all Empire allies gain 20% offense, stacking to 300% until the end of the battle, and then 10% TM. This effect will persist through defeat. So even if you kill Darth Vader, but you don't kill the rest of the team, which would be Palpatine, Mara, Royal probably Thrawn or Tarkin, whichever 5th you want to put on his team, they're going to have a lot of offense. If Vader ends his turn with 25% or more health, all Imperial allies gain potency up for turn. If he ends his turn with 75% or less health, all Imperial allies gain defense up for turn. And then at the start of the battle, if Palpatine is in the leader slot, Vader will gain hatred until he's defeated, which cannot be copied, dispelled, or prevented. And he will assist whenever Emperor Palpatine uses special ability during his turn, and also whenever Emperor Palpatine assists during another turn's ally. Another ally's turn. Wow, I did not read that properly at all. Jeez, you would think I could read, but no, apparently not. Because Palpatine assists on Mara Jade's abilities. Which one is? I believe it is one of the swarms. Which one is it? Or is it basic? Yeah, it's her basic. She'll call Palpatine to assist, you know. So, you know, and also useful pawn will be on the build. Oh no, yeah. Well, no, useful pawns if there is no. No wait, no, hold on. If Emperor Palpatine is in their slot starting to counter, all dark side allies gain useful pawn until the end of counter. Ah, okay. I can't remember. Anyways, now, what else do we have? We need to get to the Grand Arena bit for the Ami. That's while in Grand Arena, so it doesn't say which ones was all of them. At start of battle for no GLs and Palpatine is in the ally leader spot, all Empire allies gain hatred until they're defeated, which cannot be copied, spelled, or prevented. Now, hatred is the same ability that Scion has, that Reva has. It's the whole you can't be killed until you just keep you revive with it kind of thing. But I mean, you know, whatever. Whenever Imperial tank loses taunt, I can't speak. They are marked for 2 turns, can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented, and they recover 30% max health protection. Vader will gain 4 speed, maxing to 80 until the battle. End of the battle, whenever an Empire ally targets a debuff enemy with ability, takes damage from an enemy ability while debuffed or scores a critical hit. That is really weirdly worded. So whenever he's gaining 4 speed, whenever an Imperial ally targets a debuffed enemy with ability, okay, takes damage from an enemy ability while debuffed, okay, or scores a critical hit. So lots of stacking speed for Darth Vader here. Lovely. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. It's a Zeta ability, second unique, by the way. At the start of an encounter, whenever he takes burning damage or whenever he uses an ability, Vader gains a stack of vengeance until the end of the battle or until he's defeated. Vader loses 15... When he loses 15 stacks from... I cannot speak English today. Can I even read? No. Vader will... Whenever he loses 15 stacks of vengeance or more, he gains 2 additional bonus stack of... Not stacks, you dummy. He gains 2 additional bonus turns, and the next time he damages an enemy, that enemy... Targeted enemy's death marked until the end of his bonus turns for Vader is defeated. Gnarly. Okay, so I can't even read. So, whenever he loses 15 or more stacks of vengeance, he takes 2 bonus turns, death marks an enemy, the target enemy, until the end of his bonus turns or until he is defeated. Vader can ignore taunt effects during his turn. Whenever he uses a special, the target enemy is afflicted with a stack of damage over time. This ability afflicts an additional stack if the target enemy is Galactic Republic, Inquisitorius, or Jedi, and an additional stack if it is an Anakin Skywalker. At the start of the battle, if there's an enemy Anakin Skywalker, they are inflicted with Demoralize for the rest of the battle, which can't be copied, dispelled, prevented, evaded, or resisted. And if they are in the enemy leader slot, all Imperial allies are immune to daze for the rest of the battle, and Vader cannot be targeted while there's another Imperial ally. If all allies are Empire to start battle, Vader will gain 50% of kill damage and is immune to fear and TM reduction. That is freaking wild. So, now all the Vaders that will count as Anakin Skywalkers for this are General Skywalker, Jedi Anakin, and Padawan Anakin. Darth Vader duels in, and Lord Vader and Anakin Skywalkers, which is true from a certain point of view. Oh lord, that's funny. But yeah, Darth Vader duels in will be kind of making Emperor Palpatine teams really good in 5v5, probably in 3v3 as well, because it doesn't really say you need to have a whole 5v5 team, because you'll have shock and stun anyways from Mara and Palpatine anyways in 3v3, so you can make that work on defense or offense, whichever one. But we kind of also need to have probably an increase on teams that are available on defense. I know that a lot of people don't really want that, but like some people do, especially in Kyber 1 and 2. But anyways, let me know what y'all think of Barriss and Vader in the comments below. And yeah, I will catch you guys shortly with the next and final video of the 2 kits for this era of anniversary. Yeah. Catch y'all in a moment. But I'll be on for the rest of your day.